Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Lit Explorer podcast. As promised, this is my final review of the Shatter Me series. I finished reading all of the 6 books. It might have taken me 2.5 months. The 4th and the 6th book were my least favorite books in the series, but I am going to give you my final review of the series. So, the story begins with Juliet, who has little powers. She is kept in a prison cell by the Re-establishment. The Re-establishment are an absolutely heinous government who are torturing people and being absolutely terrible. And then Juliet is in this prison cell for a really long time, and then she is joined by Adam. Now, Adam and Juliet are in this prison cell. Adam doesn't know why he's in the prison cell. I can't remember if he knows. But Juliet is like, oh my god, I know you, Adam. So Adam and Juliet know each other from before, when they were at school and things like that, when they went to school, when they were quite young. So then what happens is Juliet and Adam are taken out of that prison cell and moved to a compound that belongs to the Re-establishment, and the compound belongs to Aaron Warner. Aaron Warner is the son of Paris Anderson, who is the Supreme Commander of America. So Aaron Warner is like extremely obsessed with Juliet's powers. He's like, I need Juliet to be in my arsenal. Like, that's so helpful to have someone who can kill people just by touching them, that they don't even need to spend money on like weapons and stuff. So Aaron Warner is like extremely obsessed. So he treats Juliet like a princess. He's like, I'm going to study you and all of that. And then what happens is Juliet is like extremely frustrated by Aaron Warner because he's part of the Re-establishment. So she is extremely frustrated, and so she plans with Adam that they are going to break out of this compound. So they break out of this compound, and Juliet realizes that Adam and now Aaron Warner are the only 2 people who can touch her. So Adam can touch Juliet because Adam has the power to cancel out someone else's power. And Aaron Warner, it is revealed later in the books that Aaron Warner's power is to absorb another person's power. So, but Aaron Warner doesn't know that in the first book. Then Juliet meets Adam and his brother James, and then they hide out or something like that. And then I can't remember what happens after that. And then Aaron Warner is like freaked out because his main weapon has escaped. So he sends Kenji, and Kenji works on the good side, but he's just pretending to be under Warner. And then they realize that, okay, Adam and Kenji, both of them who are part of Warner's administration and are Warner's soldiers, are both actually on the good side, and they're just pretending to be on the bad side. So Kenji, Adam, and who else? Kenji, Adam, and Juliet, all 3 of them are now together, and they're heading off to be a part of a rebel group. Now, when they're part of the rebel group, Juliet meets the head of the rebel group, who's called Castle. He's lovely. He leads the rebel groups. They have like all this technology, all of that, and that's how the story progresses. Now, the story progresses, and the main mission of the whole entire book series is to get rid of the Re-establishment. Do they achieve that in the final book? Kind of, because the Re-establishment collapses on itself. They don't really do anything. they're not, the reestablishment is so strong that the people cannot, all of these super people who have powers, like Kenji has powers, Juliet has powers, Adam has powers, so all these people cannot actually do anything about the reestablishment, because the reestablishment has their own set of special people who have powers. So at the end of the book series, the reestablishment just collapses on itself, and everybody just dies, and that's how the book series ends, which is why I am saying that the end of the books, especially the last book, Imagine Me, was quite draggy up until 70% of the book, and then the last 30% was quite action-packed. It was like everything was happening all at once, and the final ending is told from Warner's point of view. So that just goes to show that perhaps I wouldn't say that it was a terrible ending. I would just say that it felt like unreal and unnatural. It didn't feel like it was a culmination of events. It just felt like it was presented to the reader and just gift wrapped and tied in a neat bow. So, which is why I just felt like the ending could have been something else. But I do have something to read, especially to tell you about Kenji's character, because this was an amazing quote just to describe Warner and Kenji. So this quote is from the Imagine Me book. So it says, so Warner says, every single time you claim to understand even a fraction of what I'm feeling, I want to disembowel you. I want to sever your carotid artery. I want to rip out your vertebrae one by one. You have no idea what it is to love her. You couldn't even imagine. So stop trying to understand. And what Kenji responds to that is, wow, sometimes I really hate this guy. So yeah, so that is something I found extremely funny in the Imagine Me book, and I thought, well, that is such a good description of the relationship between Warner and Kenji. Something else I'd like to read from the end of the book, and which I found absolutely adorable. I won't tell you whose point of view this is, but if you have read this book, you can understand what I'm saying. So it says, towards the end of the last book, it says, to the world, she is formidable. To me, she is the world. Which I found is extremely beautiful and extremely... It encapsulates the way Warner feels about the person he's talking about. Well, that's it for my review. I hope it was not too all over the place. I just hope like I was able to give a good review. I enjoyed the book quite a bit. It was great, but I felt like if I would have read it at maybe like next year or 2 years from now, I would have been like, this book is quite young for me. Like I wouldn't have been able to read it, and I wish it would have come to me during my dystopian era when I was reading Hunger Games and Maze Runner and all of that, because that's when this book series was also released. But I'm glad I read it now because it was great. I really enjoyed reading it, enjoyed getting to know these characters, and it was a great reading experience. But yeah, I do have my things I do not like about this book. I do have those, but overall I really enjoyed the book. And if you do give it a try, do let me know, and I would love to hear about